स्टूडेंट्स, ट्रांसमिशन इम्पेयरमेंट्स की कुछ बात चल रही है और हम लोगों ने अटेनुएशन की. फर्स्ट मेजर ट्रांसमिशन इम्पेयरमेंट इन डेटा कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम्स, हमने उसकी बात की थी. अब डिस्कस करेंगे डिस्टॉर्शन को. स्टूडेंट्स, डिस्टॉर्शन इज नथिंग बट द चेंज इन द फॉर्म और शेप ऑफ द सिग्नल. So when the signal travels through a transmission medium, it is when it reaches point B or it reaches the destination, the shape or the form of that signal is not the same as what was transmitted. Students, distortion is very common in the composite signals which have got multiple frequencies. Students, every single component of this signal, it travels with its own propagation speed over the transmission medium. But what happens is it has got its own delays as well. तो हर component जो है composite signal का, it is traveling independently with its own speed. The delay is there, which is constant, or ideally it should be constant for every single signal component as well. Now what happens is, when this delay is not constant, when this delay is not equal to the period of that particular signal, then what happens is the signal reaches the destination with different phases. Don't get confused. We'll go to the next slide and we'll discuss it using a diagram. Students, as you can see, top diagram at the center, we have got a composite signal which is sent. Now this composite signal, you have seen this before in our previous discussions. We have broken it down into its component sine waves, and we end up with 3 different sine waves, each of them with different phases. Phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. और याद कीजिएगा, phase या phase shift is the relative position of the waveform with respect to time 0. So the composite signal that we are sending, it has got a certain component sine waves and therefore phases for each one of those sine waves. Now students, when this composite signal is sent over the transmission medium, if there is delay, the differences in delay, what it does is it creates differences in phase. If the delay is not exactly the same, it creates differences in phase. So students, what happens is that the signal components at the receiver, they have phases which are different. P1 looks like it's the same as what we had here. So P1S, P2S at the sending end is P1R. This is equal. What happens to the second component, by the way? So the phase has changed. In this particular case, the phase has changed for P3 at the receiver side. So you can see that your P1 is at the sending end is equal to your P1 at the receiving end, but your P2 at the sender is not equal to P2 at the receiver, and similarly out of space, I'll write here, P3 at the sender is not equal to P3 at the receiver. Students, these differences in delays ultimately result into differences in phase, and this is called as distortion.